All right.
Hello?
Welcome back to the not televised revolution. It's backwards day at TNT. I'm naked from the waist up instead of the other way around.
Oh, that's just Tuesday, man.
Everything is so backwards and upside down these days. It's infuriating me. Like even as a person that looks at things and thinks about them before I come to a decision, it's just like a jungle out there. Sometimes it makes me
For
wonder.
real. Um, is it just me, or does it look like everybody's trying to throw a totally irrelevant election?
Yeah, everyone who's gonna win when everyone's trying to lose.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Every and and like on both sides, I see the political groundwork to being laid already to invalidate the election, no matter what the results are.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the event. I really do, for real, for real.
I approached a stranger the other day and I wanted to start talking about the post office thing, but I couldn't really get past the why should you even bother voting thing, which is why you talk to strangers. But I had like 1 minute to talk to him, and
Well,
he
yeah,
appreciated it. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. I don't know. I, I really don't know how to approach this one. I don't know who's gonna win because it does. It seems like everybody's trying to lose, and yeah, it's like it is. It's like upside down world. I fucking totally woke up in a different dimension or something. Like none of this shit makes any fucking sense to me. But you know, I don't know. I I I, I don't really see the electoral system. I don't know, maybe, but I don't. I think that either party, I really do. No matter who wins or loses, either way, the the loser is going to raise a stink, and it's going to totally invalidate the election that we have. It's the most irrelevant action that we can take right now.
Right, right. I think that we need to break the two-party duopoly. Like that's even more obvious now than it was in 2016. And
Yeah, but I don't honestly see it happening. Um, there's a lot of people like they have a lot of interest, but there's a lot of fear, and
a lot of money.
um, fear always plays in the hands of the people that already have power every time. That never fails. I've never seen that. I mean, I've never read an instance in which history didn't play into the hands of whoever it was that already had power at that moment. Um, uh, I'm not saying that they don't exist, but generally,
Power conceives nothing without demand, and the people are too afraid to demand.
we're they're hungry. They don't. I don't know, man.
They're starving.
It's um, either way. I do think that um, we're in for a pretty hard decade coming ahead of us, and no matter how the next couple of months play out, um, I honestly don't see a different result either way.
All right, that gives me chills because you are the only friend I had that predicted Donald Trump in the first place. And yeah, I think it's time to move to the country and raise my own food and stuff.
I yeah, you might be right. Um, how I'm looking at it is I'm trying to turn to the economy that will have to continue to exist no matter what. So, what I can do without anybody's help or anything from the outside that will always be useful on my little parcel of land, my little handful of earth. So, I've been working with blacksmithing for the last year or so, and I'm, you know, gonna probably continue doing that, molding and casting metal, heating and alloying, so on and so forth, welding. Um, I think that'll be useful no matter what, and no matter where I'm at. So,
No one could say this brother doesn't have fire.
dude, it took me a year to get hot enough. But I don't know. That's just worst case scenario. But I honestly, I don't really see a way to avoid it at this point. The worst case scenario. Honestly, I think that um, I
Strong words coming from Grover over there.
everything. Well, everything that if freaking everything that's it, um I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little jaded and too nihilistic. But like it just seems like every chicken that we've every egg that we've laid over the last 40 years is now finally coming back as a chicken to roost. It's just these are the seeds that we've sown, and here we are, and we're probably gonna end up just dealing with it.
Right, right. This was a hard podcast. Like, I did not bother preparing for this because there's so much on the table. There's so much.
There's nothing. There's. I couldn't. I could speak a book right now and couldn't even start.
Exactly, exactly. Like, ever since we dropped the gold standard and started the American petrodollar, which isn't even, it's only based on faith. Like, the world believes in the dollar, and that's the only reason the dollars in our pocket are worth anything. Like, and that's just the beginning. And then we got Reagan, and then we got Bush and Bush Jr., and then we got.
On the upside, look at
You got
post.
an upside.
Yes, there is. There's an extraordinary upside. Look at post-imperial France, post-imperial England, post-imperial Italy, post-imperial any country. Um, like our the next little while is going to be pretty uncomfortable. I don't think that there's any way to get around that. However, on the other side of it, um, the reason you don't have an industrial job is because for the dollar to be the world reserve currency, there has to be a means for which other countries to get dollars. Well, how do they do that? They sell us worthless shit like China does, so that we can export our dollars. In the end, we're actually exporting our wealth, but we're not actually exporting our wealth. There's no real wealth expressed in those dollars. It's just a bunch of bullshit.
Now, just real quick,
But
are you talking about treasury bonds?
no,
Okay,
actual dollars.
okay.
You buy stuff from China, therefore Walmart takes their little cut, their little distributors take their cut, the freaking port takes his cut, but then the company in China that actually manufactured it is the goal. He's the one that we want him to have the dollar. Why? Because if he has dollars, then he can use dollars to trade to other countries for other stuff. Well, he needs iron. He needs to get iron from I'm just throwing Peru. I'm just pulling out of out of the ether these concepts. Well, Peru has this nice little means of they already have this nice little means of trade, dollars. Peru has dollars, or they want dollars. Obviously, they want dollars. Well, China has dollars. Everybody can use dollars, so everybody wants dollars. But the only way that whole system works is if you, Dale, are fucked. Because you have to give your dollars to China. You have to give your dollars to England, to Israel, to Saudi Arabia, to every other country. The fact that we are an empire means that the people inside the empire are worse off, and everybody else is better off by definition. Now, if we cut that stream of dollars off, then nobody can get dollars, so nobody can use dollars, and we kind of have to keep the dollars to ourselves, and our own economy runs on its own. And then from that point, we can go forward. In those ways, I mean, what's going on with the destruction of our legitimacy in a lot of ways over the past 4 years, and I don't think that there's anything Biden can do to repair that.
Now you
Or,
really
or
actually
Harris.
you really struck a nerve with me because I was I was speaking to a close friend of mine about how life is just not as fun as it used to be. It's not like it's nothing like it used to be like 5, 10 years ago. And he's
Yeah,
like,
we sold that to China for our elites to have more global power. We sold all that fun. All that fun, all that excess, everything that we had, all the gravy is taken out so that the people that have power can have more of it.
and my
Period. That's what an empire is.
but my
That's what Rome was.
but my
That's what
friends
Greece was. That's what Persia was. That's what the Mongolian Empire was. That's what every empire is. The people in it are the ones that are screwed. The people outside of it need to be treated well because they're outside on the borders. We don't really have as much reach on them as we do on us.
right, but my friend's answer to my quandary was I should be feeling great because I'm an American. Like I live in the best country in the world, and therefore, it's my own fault if life is not feeling right.
I there is some wisdom to that. I,
It's a tough one for me, at least.
but a, a person coming right out of high school without basically dedicating his entire life to his economic outcome, and I mean every minute, pretty much every waking moment of every day, doesn't really have any class mobility.
Right.
And if you just don't want to put your entire life into the concept of dragging your way up the ladder, it's not it's just not there for you. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing or a good thing or anything like that, but doesn't it seem like there should be a decent life for those people who don't want to think about it with every waking breath?
Look, I should be able to afford air conditioning, people.
I mean, it. Do you do we really consent to that?
No,
Really?
not really.
I mean,
Some people.
every waking. Some people do, but is that really it? I mean, I don't feel so, but other people might. I mean, it's a question. It's not rhetorical. Ask it for yourself. Is that really what I think?
Yeah, but for so many people, it is rhetorical because it's a rhetoric of, the bootstraps. You know, that's a rhetoric.
Well, yeah, but I mean, is that's what I'm asking. Is that really it? Is that really what we have? Just
Apparently,
that's that we consent to being measured in this way.
right?
The only way that we count is through our economic output.
I guess we're
Really?
finally forced to talk about the COVID on the show. I mean, what happens if someone took away your boots?
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
What are you gonna do then?
yeah, yeah. Oh, I mean, and
Through no
I,
fault of your
I,
own, someone took away your boots.
I don't know how I did it, but I actually ended up doing.
That's because you work for yourself. Because you're a
Well,
real
yeah, but
American.
well,
You actually
yeah,
are.
but man, for real, I was scared. Like, you have to have money to pay me with.
Yeah.
I, I mean, it's yes, I work for myself, but if you don't have money, I can't pay myself.
Hmm.
What are we gonna do? I mean, that's all I can say. So like I don't, I was really scared, but I made it through. I actually did really well this year. I usually have a rush right after tax season, but nothing like this year. This one was actually pretty crazy. It was pretty. I honestly was kind of begging for it to end,
Um.
but it
Did
went
you?
straight for 3 months.
Okay. So, for new listeners, Bob Bobson is an electrician. And did you get any unusual job requests?
No, nothing. No, nothing like you're referring to like Wyoming, right? Like
Do tell.
no, what?
Did they have weird shit going on?
Well, I stopped by on my way there to the Doomsday Fort I helped wire,
Oh yeah.
but but beyond that, but that was long before the COVID. No, actually, I didn't get anything weird. It was all my switch doesn't work, this plug, blah blah blah. But it was a lot of it. It was a lot of little stuff, and I mean I like the little stuff. So no, I didn't get anything strange this time around.
So, but maybe just a little bit. People were a little bit more scared when a little thing went wrong.
Yes,
Okay.
that was true. But I also think that the economic stimulus and then the expectation of the taxes later on, and some people got them both at the same time or real close to each other. I think that kind of helped me along, and um, because everybody has that switch or that light that is funky, da 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 da. Everybody has it. Has one.
Right, and with the natural gas explosion, even just turning on a light in an underfunded city could mean you blow up the whole city. Everything is so scary. Uh, in,
Yeah, I mean, can't really put it past frickin' 2020, man. This year's out to get you, huh? Just like
so I wish I had the news story up, but I forget what city. But even in America, we had a crazy explosion like what happened in Lebanon, like just just from negligence of our officials. Speaking of negligence from our officials, I wanted to call you tonight specifically to talk about Pittsburgh, which you're nearby, and you are the protesting type. I noticed that the Pittsburgh police are kidnapping people like the feds did in Portland, and
I
I'm glad to hear your voice right now. Really glad.
I I've seen well, okay, like I with the first couple of days of the George Floyd protest, Pittsburgh was not kidding. Like they really were not. at all. And I've heard a few reports of that from a couple of like I don't know. It's all in the wild rumor era that I've heard. I honestly am kind of surprised that you heard about it out there. But I mean, I've heard a little bit about that, but I don't personally know anybody who has come out on the other side of that to tell me about it. I've just heard other people say, and I don't know. I always, stuff that doesn't come from the horse's mouth is always a little weird to me. But I wouldn't put it past anything. Um, Governor Wolf has been actually rather uh, um, um, adversarial to the Trump administration. Now, he's a new liberal just like any other, but I don't think Trump can tell the difference, and he's kind of petty, and so I really wouldn't put it past him at all.
He's got a D next to his name. Let's eradicate him.
Yeah,
I don't
and
do impressions.
yeah, and additionally, like this, I mean, we're right next to Ohio here, and there's a pretty deep red streak here, and there's a pretty deep, but at the same time, there's a really deep libertarian streak here. So honestly, I watching my Republican friend, a lot of these guys I respect a lot more than I do your run of the mill average liberal, because I mean they don't even really know what they're talking about most of the time. But like these libertarian guys, these are, aside from the libertarian politicians, which are different, um, they're actually not bad dudes, and they kind of see a lot of the same problems that I do, and they just kind of have a different approach to dealing with it. Um, but listening to at least half of them turn around and defend like these really hardcore authoritarian measures from a Republican president because it's Trump doing it is scarier than I thought it would be, to be honest.
Right. Just real quick, I want to say from my own point of view that libertarian and a Republican are two different things, even though they get conflated. Like,
A
I
lot of
think that's
libertarian
part of the
vote.
war on ideas, actually.
A lot of the libertarians vote with the Republican Party in the same way that a lot of socialists and leftists vote with the Democratic Party. They don't really
Right.
like it. It's not really their cup of tea,
Right.
but it's somewhat theoretically but better than the alternative.
Right.
Although
That's why we should have four parties. They're four different ideas, but we still only have two parties.
I actually take it a step further. If every 4 years we come to a contest in which there's a legitimate argument on both sides that if blankety blank person gets into office, we could all die, and then from the other side, if blankety blank person comes into office and we could all die, and that argument actually carries weight because it's to a maybe not usually actually true. If Obama comes into office, we aren't going to all die. Okay, that's true. And we didn't all die when Trump came into office. That might be true. But if we could theoretically all die because of the power of a single man, maybe that office shouldn't exist. Call me crazy.
Abolish the president. You heard it here first. Wow.
I just I'm kind of sick of it. I really am. I don't think that that's serving us. Now, yes, there is a reason for an executive branch. There's a reason for a lot of things, but I don't think a single person can do that job legitimately. I mean, particularly in the system that we've built.
All right. Okay. So, final topic. I do not want to vote for Joe Biden, but I do not want Donald Trump to have his authoritarian dreams. What the hell do I do?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to vote for Biden. I don't want Trump, but this is how I'm looking at it. And this is kind of my choice. I haven't really come down on either side, really, to be honest. And yeah,
I
I
hear you.
will put myself as officially undecided. The last 4 years has had. Um, okay, before I say this, I need to define my personal definition between the difference between Karen and Becky. Becky is just like Karen, but Karen watches Fox and Becky tends to watch MSNBC. All right? Now,
it's like a kindergarten puppets class.
a lot of Karen and Becky are both in the opposition right now. Not all of Karen. A lot of Karens are freaking hanging out with the Trump crowd and on the Trump train and everything like that. But not all of them. But all of Becky and a lot of Karens are against Trump. And having those people together in the same room in opposition is not necessarily a good thing. And that's really my only argument for Biden, is that putting rural people and working class people absolutely in the opposition, because I can't say that the Democratic Party really represents working class people even a little bit. Putting them in the opposition might result in them um, reaching to one another in our current climate. However, I don't think Biden can repair the damage that Trump has done to the American empire, but it will sustain it. And I don't think the American empire will survive another 4 years of Trump. Either way, it's going to be very uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
Trump is pulling that Band-Aid off real quick. I don't think the American empire will survive another 4 years of it. I just don't. And that might not be a bad thing, to be honest.
Wow. 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 Wow.
And but on the other side of it, I mean, and to be fucking completely frank, I am afraid of Harris.
Good
Imagine
point.
an authoritarian
With a D next to her
just
name.
as authoritarian as Trump,
Hmm.
but she's actually kind of good at it. She can
And
bullshit
she can talk.
if she's prepared to bullshit you, she can bullshit you pretty good. And I don't I and she's just as authoritarian as Trump. And then she would have the media apparatus behind her. Whereas Trump as an authoritarian doesn't.
Very, very good point. Very good
Now,
point.
and I mean I am no Trump guy, man, but I'm looking at it like looking out for my best interest, dude. I got hit by a sponge round. I don't I last time I got hit by a rubber bullet was under Obama, and Biden was in the vice presidency chair. Just saying, man. It's just like it doesn't. It 6 and 1/2 dozen in the other to me, man. For real.
All right, and why would anyone want to fight for the Empire anyways? Um,
Yeah, that's. I'm curious, but I don't know. I don't know.
so
I don't know.
that's our half hour mark. I wanna pause the recording, but keep it going. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. I didn't want to scare you with an overly long recording time. Can I get you back on? Uh,
Oh
can I
yeah,
can
yeah.
I keep you on? Just pause the recording. All right, thank you everybody. The TNT Revolution is just run by me whenever I have time and can get someone to answer the phone. So I appreciate all 12 of you a lot.
Oh, 12 of you. Wicked
Seriously,
wild.
we'll be right
Wicked
back.
wild.
We'll be right back.